Hi everyone, it's Sintang Mayumi. I have 3 cards, one stamp set collaboration with my crafty BFF, Cherryl Sabado here on YouTube. We decided to use the stamp set All the Feels from Kindred stamps. When coloring small images like this, I always use my Zig Clean Color Wheel Brush markers. I try to color the characters the same colors like the characters in the movie and pick the colors that I have and use them to color my images. After the coloring is done, I fussy cut them with my Fiskars Soft Touch Scissor. I colored 2 of each characters and I think I colored more off camera. For my first card, I'm going to make a long card and I cut my paper to 8 1/4 by 3.5 inches and I'm using 90-pound Strathmore watercolor paper. I will do some ink blending on my long panel. The colors I use are Wilted Violet, Mermaid Lagoon, Maudlin, Mustard Seed, Spice Marmalade, and Pink Raspberry Distress Oxide inks. I will use my makeup brush to do the smooth blending on the paper, and then I go back to the colors that needed more blending later on. I also have my damp absorber on the side to clean the brush in between colors so I don't contaminate my oxide inks. I use my Sparkle Shimmer Spritz to add shimmer on my panel and shake it very well before spraying it on my ink blended panel. And because I'm impatient to wait for it to dry, I use my heat gun. My card base measures 7.5 by 8.5 inches, score at 4 3/4 inches. Before I adhere my panel on my card base, I will just stress the edges with Vintage Photo Distress ink using finger dauber. I use strong double-sided tape to adhere the panel on the card base. I fold the release paper halfway so I can still lift it up if I need to realign it. And I can remove the release paper all the way when I'm sure with the alignment. I cut a skinny strip of black paper and I will adhere it on the lower part of the card so my characters has ground when I place them on the card. Again, I use strong double-sided tape to adhere the black strip on the paper, and the tape that I'm using here is the perfect size. And then I can varnish it with my bone folder to make sure it is adhered well. Then I can arrange my characters on the black strip of paper. When I'm sure with the placement, I will secure them with washi tape so they are all together. I have to stick the tape on my arm a couple of times to get rid of the tackiness of the tape, so when I remove the tape off the images, it won't take off the colors. And then I will apply liquid glue on the back of the characters and adhere them all together on the card and carefully lift the washi tape off the images. I will use one of the sentiment from the stamp set that says "Time to Celebrate." Before I stamp my sentiment, I will rub my powder tool on the paper to eliminate static. I will stamp the sentiment with Versamark ink and emboss it with Wow Opaque Bright White embossing powder and melt the powder with my heat tool. And cut the embossed sentiment with my Fiskars trimmer. I added foam tape on the back of the sentiment and I will adhere it in the middle of the card. For the inside of the card, I stamped Happy Birthday sentiment from the stamp set Tim Holtz Things / Talk, and I stamped it with Kaleido Color Tomato Vine ink in the middle of the card, inside the card. And I also stamped the party hat and 2 balloons with Gina K Black Amalgam ink. And colored them with Prismacolor pencils. I also stamped the characters on the white envelope so it will match with the card. And same thing, I used Kaleido Color Tomato Vine ink. And my first card with matching envelope is finished. For my second card, I used 90-pound Strathmore watercolor paper again for my panel, cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I'm using my ruler and pencil to draw straight lines on my panel to make some kind of bookcase, but I will use it to stamp my circle that is included in the stamp set. If you already watched the movie, there is a place with walls of these emotion balls with all the colors stored on the walls, and that's what I'm trying to create on my panel. After I draw the lines, I will stamp the circles on the paper with Gina K Black Amalgam ink. And then I will go back with my micron pen to draw the lines again. And erase the pencil line with my Prismacolor eraser. I again use my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers to color my background. I'm going to die cut my panel with one of the die from Gina Marie Designs Stitch Rectangle die set. And I secure my die with washi tape on the paper so it doesn't move when I run it through my die cutting machine. And adhere my panel on my card base using liquid glue. I use one of the sentiments from the stamp set that says, "You bring so much joy to my life," and I stamp it on the upper left corner of the card. And adhere my two characters on the card with liquid glue and a little bit of foam tape. For the inside of the card, I stamped 3 of the characters with Kaleidocolor Tomato Vine ink. And my second card is finished. For the third card, I will use stencil from my favorite things called Many Cloud Stencil. I will do some ink blending using the stencil with Broken China Distress Ink Oxide. I'm also using my paddle brush again to get a smooth blending on the paper. After the cloud blending is done, I thought it would be fun to add tiny circles on top of it, so I used this stencil that my friend gifted me and just used Distress Oxide inks to color the tiny circles with my paddle brush. I will die cut little circles on the panel next to my characters. I will secure the other characters with washi tape while I'm cutting the circle, so I still know where to place my other circles. I will trace the circles on another panel so I know exactly where to put my lights. I will use the other panel for the circuit. And then I will draw lines so I know where to adhere my copper foil tape. I cut 2 inches by 1 inch piece of cardstock and fold it in half, and I will use that to hold my battery. And adhere it with liquid glue on the upper part of the panel. I write my negative in the inside and positive on the flap of the paper so we know where our positive and negative are. Next is to adhere our copper foil tape. Mine is wider, so I will cut it in half so I get more from my copper foil tape, but you don't have to cut it if you don't want to. These lights are called Chivitronics. I got mine from Amazon. I have 3 packs here with different colors. I will use yellow, green, orange, blue, and purple circuit lights. Before I add my lights on the copper foil tape, I write negative and positive on the sides of the circuits so I don't get confused. The lights has negative and positive written on them so you will know where to place them. I have the positive die cut of the circle that I die cut a while ago. I save it to use for my sign so the recipient will know where to press. And just wrote press here on the circle with my pen. Next, I will cover the circles on the back of the panel with vellum. I double up my vellum so the light's not too bright, and I just use liquid glue to adhere them. I also added foam tape around my circuit panel and double up my foam tape. I will remove the release paper so I can adhere my ink blended panel on top of it. And adhere my press here on the upper part where the battery is. And adhere my characters next to their lights. And adhere the panel on my card base. I use strong double-sided tape, and just like what I did on the first card, I removed the release tape halfway so I can still realign it if I need to. There are small sentiments from the stamp set, and that is what I use on the front of my card. I stamp the sentiments with Versamark ink on a scrap of black cardstock and emboss it with white embossing powder and adhere them using foam tape. For the inside of the card, I use the sentiment "Have No Fear" and stamp it with black amalgam ink. I also stamped the circle with the same ink and colored it with Prismacolor pencils. And my 3 cards, 1 stamp set collaboration is finished. Please check out Cheryl's video for this month's card collaboration. I will leave links in my description down below. I hope you like today's cards, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.